Sometimes in life you just want to quit because you didn't get the role you wanted. You thought this was going to be your time, and finally it felt free. You've been on the sidelines for 3 years. One was because you got cut from the team, and there were times where your mind was blurry and struggled, taking stats throughout the whole game. People saying you would absolutely make it, or just keep working on your skill during a halftime, and be approached by someone asking why you were not playing, and saying nothing because wanted to respect. But the thing is to never give up on your dreams, because different opportunities would come. This is my story of my years of basketball and not making the team. And we'll give you some advice and some tips. And I'm going to go through a recap of each year. My freshman year of basketball, coming into tryouts, I was not as skilled as the other players, and I had like low confidence and low self-esteem. That 5 minutes in, I started crying because I was so scared and terrified of all the upperclassmen, and it was definitely a learning process for me because I didn't do club. I just did middle school basketball where there's an A team or a B team, and so I didn't. So for middle school basketball, they don't teach you to be able to dribble with your left hand or do left hand layups, because that is important to high school basketball. You have to learn how to be a good dribbler and be able to use both hands. And I came the next day because when I want something, I'll like keep going for it. And about me is that I always had like this good perseverance and just never giving up when I start something. And like during this, I made the team, and during the season, I would cry every single day because it is obviously a learning process, and even though it was tough, I like pushed myself to get better and improve, and in the end, I won Inspirational Player Award, and the varsity coach at the end made a speech about me for just like not giving up and working hard, and how he thought I would not come back the next day, but I did. And for that year, my advice is to, if there's like open gyms or conditioning, to go to those. Make sure all like the coaches know your name and your face, and so they'll like recognize you. Then coming into my sophomore year of basketball, I did summer league, and I did everything I could do. I went to open gyms, I went to conditioning, and for sports, there's, once you become once you're not new anymore, there's a certain weight limit you have to do, and I did not reach the weight limit because at the end I just got sick. I was sick during tryouts and wasn't my fullest and didn't have that mentality to be able to compete, because competition is really important in tryouts to show how you are different from every different player and what are your strong attributes. And the thing about sports, you have to have a good mental mindset because you're competing against everybody else, and sometimes they're not that nice, Like one time there was this girl, she was supposed to pass me the ball, and instead she just threw it against the wall and didn't show up to tryouts 2 days because she was sick. When I just fought through my sickness and went to all the tryouts. But what she had was that she was really competitive. And then I was able to get the opportunity to be manager. And you guys, it was my first rejection. I did not know how to react, and so I just like jumped right into it. And for sports, when you want something, make sure to stick around even if you get cut. Find a way to be involved, like somehow. Already close with this team, and I was sad that I didn't get to play with them, but I got this opportunity to be somehow like around them. And basically what you do as manager, well, it's probably like different, but for me it was just like taking stats, taking stats of the shots and the rebounds and all that. Because when you're manager, you'll like learn more about the game, and you will learn about your teammates too. And after that season, I went to the award ceremony, even though like I wasn't really a part of the team, but I just wanted to be there because they became my family. Where I felt so happy, even though like I just wanted to play with my teammates, and I was so sad. And like being manager, sometimes it will be rough some days because I was already close. I just wanted to play with them, and like I couldn't. And so some days I would just like cry after a game because I really wanted to play with them, and it like hurt to see that. Other times is that players or like refs will like recognize you. And one time during halftime, I was just working on my skill, dribbling, shooting, and somebody came up to me and was like, "Why aren't you playing?" And I didn't say anything because I just wanted to respect everybody. And it's hard when you want to say something but like can't because it's between you and the team. And that can take a toll on you. And like the sports, it can take on you like emotionally, physically, and mentally. Like sometimes some days you'll feel like you suck and you're absolutely the worst player, but you are absolutely not. That was a struggle for me whenever I was doing like summer league or anything. And my advice for that year is to find opportunities if you still want this to be involved, and if you're already close, then do it. But my other advice is make sure you take care of yourself, because when you don't have a clear mindset, then you might make mistakes. And I made mistakes, but I was so lucky to be forgiven. And like sometimes being manager, you will feel absolutely invisible. You feel like your job isn't important, but it is, because it helps the team become better. And then coming into my junior year, I wanted this so badly. I did but 10 times like more than I did sophomore year. Like I went above the weight average, and like because I wanted this so badly, I didn't I wasn't in touch with my feelings, and I was just like, go, go, go. And when I didn't get to a certain place I wanted to be, I would just get so frustrated with myself. And it wasn't until after like a few nights of just waking up early and crying because I wanted this so badly, I realized that I needed to take care of myself and put myself first, because I tend to put other people first instead of my needs. So that night, I decided to not try out and take time, but I was still manager again. Like, I didn't feel as free. I felt like something was blocking me, and it was probably because I wasn't happy with myself. I did summer league year before I was senior, and I was on the JV team because I obviously like didn't really care which team I would be on, because I was still getting a lot of training and skill, and like I became like a bench warmer to starting a little bit, and would like make shots, and that really made me feel like I was capable, and like it did raise my confidence. That at the end of the summer league, like a different coach came up to me. The coach noticed like my hard work, and it was a lit chat. It was a nice chat, and like I absolutely was so happy. And then coming to my senior year, I did so many weights. I went to conditioning. I went to open gyms. I in senior year tryouts. This is the hard part. Senior year tryouts. I was so ready. I was so free. Except like 30 minutes in, about 30 minutes or more in, I fell and hit my head and had a possible minor concussion. I didn't get checked, but had a headache for a couple of days. And so I like couldn't do the other tryout days, and it sucked. And I had to have a chat with the coach, and then decided that I figured that it wasn't my time. Even though I thought it was, even though I wanted to like show him I was ready, I didn't, because I like still wanted like a relationship. Became varsity manager. I moved up, and I got to do a lot more stuff than JV. And like my advice is to like build strong relationships, because in the end I got to play my senior night game, and I was wearing the jersey and got to play. And during that game, I wasn't sure if I was playing, because it was like discussed like earlier on in the season. And once I found out, I was like so scared and like had a little bit of fear in me that I was so close to leaving, but I'm so glad I didn't, and it was honestly like all I needed, and was proud of myself for fighting through and not giving up on this. And never let fear get to you, and just like keep fighting it. And because fear can stop people from doing what they want to do, and it has affected me. And then other times I took the challenge of not letting fear get to me. And if I didn't have that strong relationship, I probably wouldn't be able to. For this one, I wish I had more time, because I had an injury, but didn't, because And I obviously was really devastated that for like a couple of weeks I just felt somebody like took something out of me, and I obviously wasn't, that happy. And like I cried in the class, and the teacher sent me to an adult who I did not like. And she said that sometimes we don't get to do things we want to do in our lives. And so I thought like the real world was just doing things you didn't want and just like being miserable. And so I did manager and went right into it because I just thought, thought it was to just be unhappy. And what I realized after that is what you make of it. I wanted to be there every single moment, and like if I emotionally wasn't there, or have like moments where I was just like really down, and there were like a couple of instances where before a game I would start breathing really hard and would basically run around the whole school so I could just be there for the game and not cry. And I just wanted to embrace every single moment with the team. And after hitting my head, it like affected my other sport. I did lacrosse, and that season was like so emotionally rough for me. Like every day, like I felt like I sucked and that I was so incapable. And it wasn't until one moment we were on a tournament, so we were like away from home, and I was alone in the hotel room, and I was just like crying for 3 hours because I thought I sucked. I felt like quitting. Like I had the mindset going into lacrosse is that I just didn't see why I made the team. And it wasn't until that point where I realized that I just had enough and just fought through it and worked really hard on my skill, and it definitely built my confidence in myself. And when you are going through that in the sport, take time for yourself. Tell yourself that you are enough and that the only thing is stopping you is you from getting to where you want to be. I didn't, and it was so worth it in the end. Because I got to see my growth, and I got in the head a couple more times. But they weren't like major than the tryout one, the like basketball tryout one. And what I wish I could tell myself all throughout those years is that you are capable and you do not suck. And to just keep believing, and even though like competition is rough, is to keep going, trust the process, and believing in yourself. My advice is when one door closes, another door opens. And that has sincerely happened to me multiple times. And I'm so grateful for that. Yeah, in the end of my high school sports career, I won 3 inspirational player awards. My freshman year for basketball, and my junior year for lacrosse, and my senior year for lacrosse. And it was just all for like not giving up and putting in effort into everything and being a team player and being there for everyone. And thank you for watching this video, and if you're watching, comment down below your story, because I'm all for that, for sharing stories, because that is what makes us become closer together. Because being on a team or being manager, sometimes you will honestly feel alone when you really are not. And this topic is like not really talked that much because people are ashamed and like don't want to be vulnerable. Like this was really hard for me, but I wanted to share my story.